Clientele boosters, welcome to another episode. Today, I have a friend, a super just hardworking young entrepreneur who's 24, the same age as me, and has achieved so much and is an inspiration. Sohrab, thank you for hopping on today. For those that don't know you, let me just give them a quick synopsis of what you do and who you are.
Pleasure to be on here, Demi, and thank you for having me on today. Quick background of me, I essentially started in the online space, drop shipping. Essentially, that's where everything began out for me. Started selling things online, and then from there, had a lot of success with ecom. I moved into the SMMA route where I started my own agency. And from there onward, it's just another business model. I went to the info product space, and now I'm in M&A. Basically, I've done every business model you can think that there is out there. I've tried it. I've had success in it. But the only reason I've had success is because I've had really great coaches, great people around me that's been able to show me what is possible. And it's basically given me the roadmap of what it takes to get success really fast, right? And I'm a relentless man. I like executing as fast as I can. There's been, I don't know if you've probably on my private Instagram, sorry, I've put a recent post out there. I used to make $9 an hour.
Yeah, I
I
saw
used to
that.
work
Subway,
for
was it?
it was a fast food chain. Porto is it's an
Yeah.
Australian restaurant. But essentially, yeah, I used to make $9 an hour working at fast food. So you could honestly tell when you come up and you come from a place like Afghanistan, you work at places
Mm,
where they pay you minimum wage of $9, you will do anything in your power to work hard, right? And I always knew for myself that I didn't want to live in that state because it was tough. It was tough. You're
mm.
working 20, 30 hours a week and you're only making $300. And at that moment, everything hit me. I need to do something. And e-commerce was the first thing that I used to see on my feed all the time. And I was really skeptical about it. I was one of those people, I'm like, this is too good to be true, you know? And
Mm.
I was down to my $500. I was like, okay, you know what? $500. I'm gonna take this course. Let's see what happens. I actually put it on a payment plan. That was the biggest investment I've made in myself because that
Mm.
investment made me multi seven figures. Just from that little investment. In my first year in ecom alone, I did like 500K in sales.
Wow,
And that
first
was just
year.
from $500 in my first $500 investment. So I love the business space. That's why I could never discredit it. It's the best business model for beginners to learn everything that you need to learn, right? So, yeah, that was a little bit of background on how I got into the online space and where I came from. And obviously, we can go a bit more deeper into it.
Yeah, fantastic. I guess you said, you came from Afghanistan. How old were you when you came into Australia? What part of Australia did you end up in when you first arrived?
So it was 2010 or early 2011. I can't recall too well because I was very, very young. I was 10 years old. I was 10 years old, and we flew into um, Adelaide, which is South Australia, right? And
Hmm.
at that moment, oh my God, it was my eyes opened up to the world. It's not that I used to live in a poor condition. I was very privileged. I would always say my dad was a hardworking man. He gave us everything in his power to let us live a good life, right? I went to
Mm,
school, I studied. My dad was always working, he was providing for us, but it wasn't a place where you could have a future in because the environment wasn't built for success, right? So I'm very, very grateful to be in Australia. And if it wasn't for my dad or my parents overall, I would never be in the place I'm in today. So
mm,
always, like I said, I always credit when it's due. And because of my parents, we moved to Adelaide in 2010, 2011. And yeah, it was a very hard moment to leave your friends back home. Because when you're young, you have a lot of friends that you go to school
mm.
with. So it's just like, okay, goodbye. I don't know if I'll ever see you again. And then you just fly off to another country, start all over again. And the work ethic that my dad had was insane, and I think that's where I got it. He would move to a new country with $0 in his pocket, bought his first house within his third year living in the country, worked
Wow.
super, super hard. And that inspired me. That inspired me because one, I wanted to give back to my father. and two, I wanted to make him proud because he left everything. He left his family to come to Australia with us. So I would have always let him down if I knew I couldn't give back to him. So there was always a chip on my shoulder where I'm like, I need to look after my loved ones. So work ethic, the reason why you do what you do is super important. Mine mainly was family and wanting a better life. So that was a quick background on how I got into the online space too, because once again, I'd always see my dad work super hard. He'd come home super late, and I'm just like, wow, I don't want to see him because you could see in your parents' eyes, they're growing old really, really fast, the amount of stress that
That's
goes through
true.
them.
Yep.
And I was like, I need to do something about it, you know? That's why I used to work three jobs. I used to work at Apollo's, Subway, Foodland, three jobs while I was still going to university. And
Hmm.
I was just like, and even throughout high school, I'm like, I need to provide, you know? So did all I can until I'm in a better position now to help them way, 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 way more. So I'm very, very blessed.
Well done, man. Yeah, no, you're right. That saying that you actually said to everyone that's listening, he said, when you look into your parents' eyes, you can actually see that they're getting older because of stress. I 1,000,000% agree with that. That's been, and this is slightly confidential, but I remember the first time I saw a gray hair on my mom's head about 2, 3 years ago. And I was like, ah, like I'm like going too slow. She doesn't even know that to this day. So those are real things. I'm curious, Sohrab, are you the oldest sibling? Are you the middle? Are you the youngest? What's that family dynamic like?
So this is pretty funny. I think I'm the middle child. I think I'm the middle child.
Okay.
I was just that one kid that went against everything my parents used to say, right? Don't do this, don't do that. I'm just like I always had that, but I'm like I'm actually the middle child. I'm the middle child. My sister, she's the oldest, and then I have a brother. We're quite identical, but we're not twins. We're like 1 year apart, but we look exactly the same. But then it's me that I have a really big family here, which is a great thing. But it's also destructive at the same time because when I used to work from home, it was just always spend time with family. But
Hmm.
now I prefer to be alone most of the time where I have one more focus, more clarity on what I need to do. And once again, you have to make some sacrifices to get to where you want to be. Obviously, being around family is amazing, but sometimes you just need to take that sacrifice and build on your own. But yeah, essentially, my sister is the oldest, and it's just me. But like I said, I'm like the naughty one that actually went against everything. Don't get tattoos, don't do this, don't travel alone, don't do that. And I did it at such a young age. I did everything before I was 20, so 18, 19, 17. I was just a very rebellious kid. But I think that's a good thing though. That's a good thing because it showed me that I need to take risks in life. And I don't want to say that I disobeyed my parents, but there's always a saying because I was into reading books at a really young age.
Hmm.
And they always said, don't take I wouldn't say my parents were overqualified or underqualified, but they weren't in the industry that I wanted to be in. So I had to listen
Hmm.
to people who have done what I wanted to do. So that was like more, it made more sense to take that decision. And at a young age, it just clicked to me that I need to be around really, really smart people that have done what I wanted to do. That's how you become really, really successful. So I did that. It looked really bad from them because they didn't understand it. And
Hmm.
I just took a lot of risks. I took so many risks to obviously once again build the skills and be around great people and to make a lot of money. So you need to take a lot of risk, but obviously do it to a point where you can trust yourself. Now my parents trust me. I could be in Albania, I could be in south of France. They just know
Hmm.
I'm gonna be safe. I can take care of myself now. Even my dad always sends me a message. I know you think you've grown up, but you're still my little boy.
Of course.
So
Of course. Are
but
you,
yeah, it's
sorry, go on.
oh no, 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 no. You can keep going.
I was just gonna say, are you the only ultra entrepreneurial child from your parents, or is your sister and your brother, have they adopted that same mindset?
Oh, to be honest, that's a really, really good question. I think my youngest sibling, he's just like me. He's like 11 years old. He's
Hmm.
actually very, very smart, but that's because he hangs around with me all the time, right? So, uh, when he goes to school, he's like, "What I'm gonna do?" Because he used to actually fulfill my orders. when I was younger, probably like in my earliest dropshipping days, I was like to my little sibling, he would have been like 8 to 7 years old. I was like, look, sit
Hmm.
on my computer, put these orders from Oberlo, and I'll pay you like $5 at the end of the day, and you can use it for lunch. Since then, he went into my computer, he would fulfill the orders. End of the day, I'd give him $5. And on top of that, he started to learn the business model. He's like, oh, you're getting this for $5, but you've sold it for 49 bucks. And what he did, he's
Mm.
like, oh, can you get me prime bottles for $5? I'm gonna go sell it at school for 10. And I
Oh
actually did get
wow,
it for him. I did for him. And he's only in year 4 or 5, and he's already told me that he made 200 bucks.
that's
So
crazy.
I can see it growing on him. My brother's the same. He has his own company, but his company is really focused on construction and buildings. My dad, he owned his own furniture company. So I think my whole family came from like a business background because uh, I just feel like they understand it as much as I do. That's why they understood me when I used to do the things I did.
Mm. Hmm.
And they were like, oh, I understand what he's doing. But they trusted me because I had to prove to them first it works. Because if
Mm.
you're a foreigner coming from Afghanistan and you dropped out of university and you tell your parents you don't want to go to school anymore, they're just gonna look dead in your eyes. Why?
Yep.
And I had to prove to them that I could be successful in this business model before I could drop out. That's why a lot of people are like, oh, my parents are against me going to university. They want me to stay there. For me, my biggest advice to them is to prove to them that you can do it. Show them that
Mm.
you
Mm.
can actually make it happen. Then they'll have more trust in you because if you put yourself in the parents' shoe, what do you want your kids to do? You want the best for your kids. And
Mm.
if your kids obviously prove to you that they can be successful, I'll be like, go for it. Do what you got to do to get it done.
Yep.
But
No, 100%.
usually,
That's a great.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry, I think there's a bit of a delay, so we cut over each other a little bit. But yeah, like everyone in my family really comes from a really solid entrepreneurial background, I'd say.
Understood. No, I can see that because yeah, usually great entrepreneurs, as you know better than anyone else, come from two extremes. Either they've come from already a wealthy family, so they learn the habits, or as Ty says, the network or whatever from their parents or their family, and they adopt those traits, or that typically, not typically, but or extreme pain. And that's not always poverty. That can be sometimes a broken household. It's just some sort of extreme insecurity. And that's why a lot of
So,
rich people, have at some point were maybe fat as a child or they got bullied, etc. So you talked about your first ecom store making your first venture with ecom making 500K. How difficult and how much time did it take for you to break through before you had that first win? Because many people that are watching, that are maybe doing sub 100K a month with their agency, with their construction, with their junk removal business, with ecom, they, oh, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear. I got you well. Yeah.
So they are like, well, how long did it take Sohrab to have that breakthrough with ecom? So how did that go about?
So, this is a really, really good story. It could be the market timing, it could be whatever it was, but I actually broke through it really fast with my first ever product. Boom, 10K a month off the bat. It was unreal. It was unreal for me because I was never exposed to the online world. And as soon as that first sale came in, the way I was so skeptical when I turned my Facebook ads on. I'm like, dude, nothing's gonna happen. I woke up, I had like 5 orders on my Shopify, and I'm just like, shit,
Wow.
this is actually. And then I kept following the same thing month after month, but I had a coach. I had a coach. Like if I was to do it by
Mm.
myself, there was no way I would have figured it out on my own. Because if you're a skeptical person and you need reassurance, you need someone that can actually pave the way and show you the way, right? So having a mentor is like the fastest shortcut to success. That one person that showed me everything, God bless him. But I I took that 10K and I took it all the way to 500K within my first 9 months. And this is within my first 9 months, right?
Wow.
I exited that company, I think in 2022, 2020. Yeah, it was middle of 2022. I sold that company. But
Wow.
essentially, just taking it to that point in space, brick by brick, you build brick by brick. You can't go 10K to 500K overnight, right? A lot of
Mm.
people can. A lot of people can. a lot of experienced people that I see in the M&A world when we go to acquire a company. They've done some crazy numbers, and I'm just like, this is the type of stuff that I like to see. But when I first started out, 10K a day, then I went to 30K, 10K a month, then 30K a month, took it to 100K a month, and then it kept on growing. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just that gives you confidence. That gives you confidence. Most people don't get that confidence in their early days because they either don't have success and that just
Mm,
kills their momentum. But when you have success early and you have success fast, it's like you put your foot down on the accelerator and you just keep pushing the pedal down, right? And I
correct.
was just like, I'm not stopping. I got to keep on going until I was satisfied. But that business model was the best thing that's ever happened to me because it taught me more than any other marketing class would in university, right? Because
Got
it's
it.
priceless. But even having success with drop shipping, you'd say, or you have when you get started out, the number one thing is learn the skills because the skills that you have is a byproduct of the money that you make, right?
Mm,
If you're not a good website builder, you're not a good media buyer, you're not a good creative guy, you got to make sure you become really, really excellent in those departments. Because when you become excellent, like you'll make a lot more money. A lot of people focus on money. I focus on the skills, and that's what is my biggest theory in any business I start. I need to become really, really good at it before I make any money. And
mm.
when you go into 40 or 50 in business, you'll really start to understand it a bit more. In the beginning, I would just say for anyone that's starting out with e-com or dropshipping, really just double down on the skills, become really good at it, and don't chase the money, chase the skill sets, and then you'll make a lot more money over time.
So, guys that are watching, key point, key takeaway point is to develop the skill, focus on the skill set, not the money. I completely agree. I think that's something that I truly didn't learn till last year, early last year. Because for me, I came from at 17, 18 a sales slash marketing background. So I know that even for me, even if my churn was excellent, I could sell my way through it till it gets to a point where you're just still selling so much and your company's not growing, you know? So I was like,
Yeah.
hold on, my people is my product. Where can I overdevelop, whether it's our SEO deliverables, make sure our backlinks are quality. So what you're saying is 100% true. And it took time, even for all of us, for me in particular, to learn that. I have an important question for you. So you talked a lot about drop shipping. You've also done, to my knowledge, a marketing agency. So, which of the two
Yeah.
business models would you say is easier for a beginner and why?
Yeah, great question again. I'd say if you're a beginner and you want to learn the skills, which is what I always suggest, drop shipping is perfect because you learn so many skills. You learn how to first do media buying, you learn how to manage a team, and you can scale it faster. Like, one thing is with dropshipping, it's more easier to scale rather than agency.
Mm,
A lot of people wish that agency is a beginner game. It's not. Like agencies, even if you have experience, it's such a complex, and to scale it is super difficult.
mm,
With a dropshipping business, you can get it to $1 million in 12 months. But with an agency, to take it to 1 million a month, you need to be at least at the Eddie Malouf stage.
yeah,
And
shout
he's
out to Eddie Malouf. Yeah.
been in this for like maybe like I don't know, probably decades, you know. So
Yeah.
you need experience to scale an agency. With dropshipping, it's a one-man band. A lot of you can I have friends, colleagues who I work really close with. They do 2 mil a month just with three people. One media buyer,
Mm,
one VA, and a customer service rep. That's it. With an agency, if you want to take it to 1 mil a month, you need sales rep, you need operations guy, you need client ad account guys. You need so many people and the payroll's expensive. So if you're a beginner, I mean it's also, I mean, if you could also, some people could argue like you can make a quick thousand, your first $1,000 with an agency. Yes, you can. But do you want to limit yourself to 1,000 or do you want to make more,
mm,
right? So it's a
mm,
good starting point. It's a good starting point. But if you're a beginner and you want to learn the skills and make money at the same time, dropshipping is perfect because dropshipping, you can make money. The money you make doesn't rely on how many clients you have. It really depends on the skills you have, right? So
mm,
you can either go learn sales and learn how to get leads and close leads, or you can actually build a real business on the back end that you can exit for cash flow and then get into the
mm.
agency. right?
And was
So the
that
way
your
I did it was,
pathway? Go on.
yeah. So I took the pathway of actually building my brand, exiting my brand, and I was like, I want to take a break from dropshipping because it was something that I wanted to enjoy afterwards, right? And I'm like, as an entrepreneur, you can't always sit still. You're like, what do I need to do now? You know? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh yeah, I've had my holiday. I need to get back to work because I don't want to sit there still. So I opened up a beta version of my agency where we help companies scale. But I already had the skills prior to that because I've already done it for myself. When I sold my company, I was like, it only makes sense to help other companies do it. And this is my theory: learn, test, then sell. I've learned the skills, I've tested it, it works, and I can sell it very confidently. That's how I was confidently able to scale my agency. Because if you haven't done it, you really can't sell it, right? I was able to sell it so much more easier, and I didn't need to outsource a lot of things. So the profit margins were higher, and it only made sense to those. And then that's the point where agency was it's a really, really good things. If you're really passionate about wanting to help brands grow, you want to help them scale, and you know what you're doing, it's a perfect business model, right? And then as soon as I did that and I paired it with another offer was my info product. Because now I could actually go and create another offer for people that are just starting out. So now I had two offers that were running, a done for you and a done with you. Done for you was uh we help you scale it. Done with you is our coaching program where we show you how to start and scale your own e-com brand. So it just worked really well, pair hand to hand, right? And a lot of people hate info product, but I love info product when it's done right because I've built so many millionaires in the last 12 months that it's insane. I'm like, this guy's made so much amount of money. He made one of my students did well over 1.8 million dollars in just 5 months.
It's Dami here from Clientele Boosters. Look, if you're enjoying this video so far and you want to much more of the conversation that I'm having, then just go to the free Mega Community Builders School Group. I repeat, the free Mega Community Builders School Group. The link should be in the description or in the bio, and you can watch a lot more of this interview. I'll see you guys there. Enjoy. Bye-bye.